Western States this year, like it wasn't perfect, but I was fit enough
right
to do well. And I knew that so I had that injury, right, in 2023, bounced back from that, ran Black Canyon, had a great performance there. Then after Black Canyon, I ended up developing another injury. I think it was kind of a compensation injury.
Yeah.
I ended up straining my calf.
Oh, really?
And had it just popped and had some issues with that. And I had to take pretty much 8 to 10 weeks of very limited training, trying to recover and get back off of that. And so about 10 weeks out from Western States, which to get ready for a big race like that, you usually need about 10 to 12 weeks at the least. 16 weeks is probably more ideal of a training block to really prepare for a big performance. I had about 10 weeks out. I was like, I can't run much. My calf is still hurting me. What am I gonna do? I was dealing with some other issues. I sat down with my coach and said, what are we gonna do? And he said, let's give it 2 more weeks. We can do a little bit, see what happens. And in 2 weeks, we can make that decision. Because I knew I was fit and I knew there was still some fitness in there.
Right.
Because I had that incredible performance at Black Canyon.
Right.
But then I had lost a lot of that with the injury.
It only takes a few weeks to lose a lot of fitness.
And I was like, oh man, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to line up and do what I want to do. Cause for me, I want to line up at a race and be prepared to be able to compete for the win. Yeah. I'm not just going to go and line up for a race and be like, oh yeah, I'll just get a finish here. Yeah. Because like I said, this is my career, and I could push that race off and maybe get ready for another big one. Right. And my whole thing was World Champs or CCC, which is that big performance that big race, that 100K is the end of August. And I was like, well, if I run Western States and I'm not prepared to run it, is it going to affect the CCC in August? Maybe I should just get rid of Western States and just focus on CCC the end of August, because that was a bigger race. And about 8 weeks out, I was starting to feel good again and was like, I wonder what's going to happen here. And I had a buddy who actually flew in, and he was coming to train with me here in Cedar City. He's from New Zealand, and he's one of the best ultra runners in the world. So he came in and we started training together, and I started feeling good. And I started sitting down with my coach, and I'm like, I might be okay. Let's see. And he's like, well, let's give it another 2 to 4 weeks, see how the fitness progresses, and then we can make another decision. And so I kept training. I kept positive. I kept trying to be as optimistic as possible. And I started developing some decent fitness. It actually came back pretty quickly. And so at the end of, I think it was May, I was out about 4 weeks out from the race. Wow. I was like, yeah, I think I can do this. I don't know if I can win, but I think I can compete for a podium. And if I execute like I know I need to, I think I can do pretty well. And so we decided to give it a go and go after Western States, because that was the goal. And it meant a lot to me. I got injured at that race in 2023. I wanted to come back and redeem myself.
Right. You had a golden ticket from Black Canyon.
I had a golden ticket from Black Canyon. I had kind of set my whole season up for that. Yeah. And so, I decided, okay, let's give it a go. Lined up at the race. And I honestly ran the best that I could with the fitness I had. Gotcha. I wouldn't say I was the fittest I've ever been in my life, but I was fit enough to do well. And that's what I focused on. And I focused on what I could control. I didn't focus on anything that I couldn't control. And I went out there and I executed my game plan and finished third. I ran 83 minutes faster than I've ever ran on that course. Really? Wow. In very hot conditions too.
What's the elevation like on that to give?
So the race is 100 miles. It runs from pretty much Lake Tahoe to Auburn, California, which is just on the outskirts of Sacramento. And it's 100 miles with about 18,000 feet of elevation gain. Yeah. Running, through the Granite Chief Wilderness up there. It's not smooth. It's not a smooth, flat
It's technical
race.
terrain
It's
we're
technical,
talking about.
It's mountain terrain, and it gets really hot. The the race, especially the second half of the race, you're running in close to 100-degree temperatures, sometimes over 100-degree temps. It's notorious, or it's known for its like heat. And it was a pretty hot year. I think it got up to like 98, 99 degrees on race day.
Wow.
And but I executed a flawless race in terms of execution.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the fitness enough to be able to like compete with the top guys.
Yeah.
The guy that ended up winning and the guy that took second. But I still finished third, and I ran the third fastest time ever on the course.
Wow. So the top three on your third fastest time or third fastest time ever?
Ever.
So the top three guys, were they all course record?
So I actually I think I ran the third fastest person on the course.
Gotcha.
Fourth fastest time ever, because the guy that won has the course record.
Yeah, Jim Walmsley.
And he was only 4 minutes off his course record.
Wow.
So he ran 14 hours and 13 minutes. The guy that took second, I ended up losing to him by 15 seconds.
Oh my goodness. Was it a hustle at the end?
So I ended up having to run a sub 5 minute mile. I think I ran like a 4:50 mile
on that last
mile.
I did see
chasing him.
Yeah, I didn't see the video of the finish, but I did see that last mile.
So it was about like 9 miles to go in the race. I heard he was coming back because he was ahead of me.
Yeah,
and I heard he was starting to come back, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll catch him. Maybe I'll catch him. And I kept going. I kept thinking, oh, he's gonna be, I'm gonna turn one of these corners, and all of a sudden I'm gonna see him. Never saw him. We get to the last turn, like literally a mile to go. Yeah. It's a mile, like slightly downhill and it finishes on the high school track in Auburn, California. Yeah. I look down the hill and I see him.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, and he was like struggling. You could tell he was running pretty slow. And I was like, oh shoot. All right. I have to give it a go.
Yeah.
And so I just gave everything I had, started like running as fast as I can. I ran like a 4:50 mile, that last mile. We were on the track. So the last 200 meters of the race is on the track.
Here comes your SUU days back.
We were on the track at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
And he ended up beating me by like, I think it was close to 15 seconds.
That's crazy.
But we're friends.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, we're competitors when we're competing. Yeah. But after we embraced each other and, hey man, like great fight.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for pushing me. We both ran incredible times. Like we couldn't complain.
Absolutely.
And,
What's his name?
Rod Farvard.
Okay.
So he lives in Mammoth Lakes, California.
Nice.
And he's actually a Hoka athlete as well. So the top three guys were all Hoka athletes. Me, Jim, and Rod. So
that's awesome.